Olivia Taylor, a successful attorney with a promising career, has always prided herself on her loyalty until she meets Douglas Chappell. Drawn to his undeniable charm and charisma, Olivia finds herself torn between her marriage to David and the allure of the forbidden. As the lines between love and temptation blur, an ice storm will expose a betrayal that will change everything. Will Olivia choose her family, or will she risk it all for a fleeting moment of passion? Olivia Taylor, a brilliant and ambitious 32-year-old attorney, is the epitome of success in her field. With a prestigious law career that has her climbing the corporate ladder at breakneck speed, she appears to have it all. Married to David, a 34-year-old investment banker, their life together seems perfect on the surface. They're the power couple, successful, admired, and planning for the future. They've always dreamed of starting a family, and David is eager to become a father. Olivia, though, begins to feel the weight of her achievements and her role in the marriage. Despite her professional success, something feels amiss. Her marriage, though stable, has become predictable, and the excitement she once felt about her life has dulled over time. Her work is demanding, and she finds herself slipping into a routine where everything feels like a checklist. While David is supportive, their growing distance has begun to feel more like emotional isolation. Their intimate moments are fewer, their conversations more about logistics than love. Olivia can't shake the feeling that she's living a life that was planned for her perhaps by societal expectations or her own ambition, but is it truly what she wants? The thoughts are unsettling and unspoken, but they are there, gnawing at her. The prospect of children is still a future goal, but Olivia is unsure if it aligns with her current desires. Does she want to continue down this road with David, or is there something more she's yearning for? Olivia knows that something inside her is beginning to stir a longing she doesn't know how to name yet. The moment Olivia meets Douglas Chappell, her world shifts. He's unlike anyone she's ever met. At 36, Doug exudes confidence, charm, and an unshakable self-assuredness that seems to draw people in effortlessly. They meet at a high-profile networking event for professionals in their respective fields, but it's more than just a business connection. Doug's presence is magnetic. He's the kind of person you notice even in a crowded room, with an energy that makes everyone around him pay attention. For Olivia, it's hard to ignore. Their conversation flows easily, with laughter and shared interests in unexpected places. Doug's intense gaze and easy smile disarm her in a way she's not used to. Olivia, who is normally in control of every situation, finds herself laughing a little too much, speaking a little too freely, and noticing the way Doug's attention lingers on her. It's nothing overt, but there's an undeniable spark between them, one that Olivia can't ignore. She tries to brush it off, telling herself it's nothing more than a momentary attraction. After all, she's married to David, and she has no intention of jeopardizing her relationship. Yet, as the night continues, Olivia can't stop thinking about the way Doug makes her feel alive, seen, and undeniably intrigued. She leaves the event that night with a nagging feeling she can't shake. She's attracted to Doug, and it scares her. The desire to resist is there, but it's complicated by the fact that Doug makes her feel things she hasn't felt in a long time. This moment marks the beginning of a dangerous internal struggle for Olivia between the life she has with David and the allure of something forbidden. As Olivia's professional life continues to progress, her interactions with Doug start to become a topic of conversation among their colleagues. It begins innocently enough, with the occasional exchange of pleasantries, but it doesn't take long for others to notice the chemistry between the two. Doug's charm is undeniable, and Olivia, though trying to maintain her professionalism, finds herself drawn to him in ways she cannot ignore. At first, Olivia tells herself she's being paranoid. After all, she and Doug are simply colleagues navigating the same high-stress environment. But the more time they spend together, the more the whispers around the office grow. People start to notice their private conversations, the way they laugh at each other's jokes, the subtle glances that linger longer than necessary. Olivia tries to keep it professional, but there's no denying the tension between them. Her colleagues are quick to gossip, and the rumors swirl. Some even suggest that there's more going on between Olivia and Doug than just friendly banter. Olivia becomes increasingly aware of the whispers behind her back, and it starts to make her uncomfortable. She's used to being the one in control, always the professional, always the composed attorney. But now it feels like every move she makes is under a microscope. The pressure is mounting, and Olivia starts to feel trapped between her professional responsibilities and her growing feelings for Doug. She tells herself she needs to focus on her work and ignore the distractions, but the pull she feels toward him is becoming harder and harder to resist. She can't escape the reality that her actions are being scrutinized by others, and the fear of being judged or caught intensifies. Her professional reputation, once untouchable, is now hanging in the balance, and Olivia begins to wonder if her personal feelings for Doug are worth the potential consequences. The growing tension between Olivia and Doug forces Olivia to take a hard look at her marriage with David. She loves him, of that she is certain. They've been together for years, built a life together, and have shared dreams of having children, of growing old together. But recently, something has shifted. Their marriage, once filled with passion and excitement, now feels more like a partnership of convenience. The spark that once existed seems to have fizzled out, and their relationship has settled into a routine one that Olivia finds increasingly suffocating. She realizes that she and David have stopped talking about their hopes and desires. Their conversations have become practical, centered around work, finances, and their shared plans for the future. The emotional intimacy that once bound them together feels distant, replaced by the humdrum of everyday life. Olivia begins to wonder if they are simply going through the motions, fulfilling societal expectations of what a successful marriage looks like, rather than truly connecting on a deeper level. Meanwhile, her attraction to Doug is undeniable. It's not just about physical desire, it's about the emotional connection she feels with him. With Doug, Olivia feels seen, heard, and understood in ways she hasn't felt in years. He makes her feel alive again, something she's been craving without realizing it. As she spends more time with him, the cracks in her marriage with David become more apparent. She realizes that while she loves David, she has lost something vital in their relationship, something that Doug unknowingly reignited. Olivia's thoughts spiral as she contemplates her future. Does she stay with David, the man she's built a life with, or does she take a risk and explore the undeniable chemistry with Doug? The decision is not clear, and the weight of it presses down on her. She's caught between loyalty to her husband and the allure of something new, something that promises excitement and passion. The question she can't answer yet is whether she can ignore her desires and stay in a marriage that no longer feels fulfilling, or if she'll allow herself to embrace the unknown. The tension between Olivia and Doug reaches its peak one cold winter evening during a particularly fierce ice storm. As the weather worsens, the office closes early, but Doug and Olivia find themselves stuck together in the building, waiting for the roads to clear. The storm rages outside, and the dimly lit office space provides an eerie silence as the two of them share a quiet, private moment. The conversation is innocent at first, just casual talk to pass the time, but the emotional undercurrent between them grows more palpable with each passing minute. Then, just as Olivia feels herself beginning to lower her guard, she hears a familiar voice from behind her. David. He's standing at the door of the office, his face a mixture of shock and confusion. He was supposed to be working late, but the storm forced him to leave early as well. Olivia freezes, caught in a moment of betrayal. She can see the hurt in David's eyes as he takes in the scene. Olivia too close to Doug, their personal conversation in the middle of a private moment, the tension so thick it's impossible to ignore. David doesn't say anything at first, his eyes shifting between Olivia and Doug, a thousand thoughts running through his mind. The silence is deafening. Olivia tries to explain, but the words get stuck in her throat. She's caught in a lie she never meant to tell, a web of emotions she never intended to weave. The reality of her situation crashes down on her, her attraction to Doug, her growing feelings, her inability to maintain the boundaries she once promised herself would never be crossed. David's face hardens, his disappointment palpable. He's not angry, at least not yet, but the hurt in his eyes speaks volumes. The silence between them is worse than any argument, worse than any accusation. Olivia knows she can't hide behind her defenses any longer. The moment is a turning point, one that will forever alter the trajectory of their marriage. David doesn't say much before he leaves, but the damage is done. Olivia is left standing in the aftermath, knowing the truth is now out in the open. Later that night, as the storm rages on outside, Olivia and David find themselves sitting in the dimly lit living room of their home, the silence thick between them. David hasn't spoken much since the confrontation at the office, and Olivia feels the weight of the unspoken words pressing on her chest. She knows she can't avoid the conversation any longer. David deserves the truth, and so does she. David breaks the silence first, his voice low and heavy with emotion. "Tell me everything, Olivia. I want to understand. What is going on between you and Doug?" His question hangs in the air like a challenge, his eyes searching hers for answers. Olivia takes a deep breath, her mind racing. How do you explain something you've only just begun to understand yourself? How do you confess to the man you've spent years with that you've been drawn to someone else, someone who makes you feel things you thought you'd long since buried? Her mind flashes to the moments with Doug, his touch, his words, his way of making her feel alive again. She doesn't want to hurt David, but she can't keep pretending either. "I'm sorry," Olivia begins, her voice trembling. "I never meant for this to happen. But there's something about Doug. He makes me feel things I haven't felt in a long time. It's not just about attraction, it's about a connection, something I haven't felt in our marriage for a while." The words pour out of her, raw and unfiltered. She can't hold back anymore. David listens, his face unreadable. His fingers tap restlessly on the arm of the couch, the frustration building inside him. "So, what? You want to throw everything away? Us? The life we've built?" His voice is tight with hurt, and Olivia can see the crack in his facade. The man who had once been her rock is now unraveling before her eyes. "Do you even want to be with me anymore, Olivia?" Olivia shakes her head, her heart aching. "I don't know. I don't know what I want." The admission stings like a slap to the face. But it's the truth. She doesn't know if her marriage with David can survive this, or if she's too far gone down the path with Doug to turn back. The emotional toll of the affair, emotional or physical, has left her exhausted, torn between the man she's always known and the man who's awakened something in her she didn't even realize was missing. The conversation spirals, with accusations and questions flying between them, but in the end, nothing is resolved. David leaves the room, retreating to the spare bedroom. Olivia is left alone, feeling the weight of her decisions pressing down on her. The life she once knew is now hanging in the balance, and she doesn't know if there's a way to fix it. The emotional roller coaster of Olivia's relationship with David has reached its boiling point. The silence between them has grown unbearable, and Olivia feels like she's living in a state of constant tension. The guilt gnaws at her every moment, but there's also a pull toward Doug that she cannot ignore. The moment of truth finally arrives when Olivia finds herself sitting across from David once again, this time with everything on the line. The weight of their conversation from the previous night hangs in the air, but this time Olivia is determined to say the words she's been holding back for so long. David sits silently, his gaze fixed on her, but the hurt in his eyes is unmistakable. He's waiting for her to explain, to give him the answers he so desperately needs. Olivia knows this is the moment that will define the future of their marriage, and she has to decide whether to come clean or keep hiding behind half-truths. "I need to be honest with you," David. Olivia begins, her voice trembling but resolute. "I don't know what I want anymore. I love you, but there's a part of me that feels like I'm suffocating. I've been feeling disconnected for a long time, and when I met Doug, when I spent time with him, it was like a spark was lit inside of me that I didn't even know I needed." The words hang in the air, sharp and raw, as Olivia finally admits the truth about her feelings for Doug. David's face hardens as Olivia continues, unable to stop herself now that she's started. "I don't want to leave you, David. But I can't ignore this part of me that's drawn to him. I don't want to have an affair, but I want to know what it would feel like to live without the constraints of this marriage. I need something more before we settle down, before we have children. I think I need to explore this side of me." I don't know if that means being with Doug or something else, but I can't just keep pretending I'm happy when I'm not. The silence between them stretches, and for a moment Olivia wonders if she's just made the biggest mistake of her life. But the truth is out now, and there's no turning back. David's expression is a mixture of pain and disbelief, as though he can't quite grasp what he's just heard. The years they've spent building their lives together suddenly feel fragile, and Olivia can't help but feel the weight of her own desires crushing the life they've known. David's response is cold, the hurt too deep to mask. So you want to have a fling? You want to explore things with Doug? And then come back to me? That's what you're telling me. His voice is strained, but the finality in his tone says it all. I don't think I can be the man you need anymore, Olivia. Olivia's heart breaks as she watches David stand up, unable to look her in the eye. I don't know if I can fix this. I don't know if I even want to, he mutters, before walking out of the room. The door slams shut behind him, and Olivia is left alone in the aftermath of her confession. The future of her marriage has been shattered, and she's not sure if there's any way to pick up the pieces. Days pass, and the tension in Olivia's life continues to mount. The emotional fallout from her confession has left both her and David reeling. She spends her days in a haze, haunted by the hurt in David's eyes and the uncertainty of her future. Meanwhile, Doug, who was once the source of her excitement, seems further and further away. He's been distant, no longer the charming presence he once was. Olivia begins to wonder if the allure of Doug was just a fleeting moment, a distraction from the deeper issues she's been avoiding in her marriage. But everything changes when she receives an unexpected phone call. It's Detective Marks, a name Olivia doesn't recognize at first. The detective's voice is calm, but the words he speaks send a chill down her spine. Ms. Taylor, I'm calling in regards to Douglas Chappell. He's been involved in an incident over the weekend, and we need to ask you some questions. Olivia's heart skips a beat. Her mind races as she tries to piece together what the detective is saying. What happened, she asks, her voice trembling. There was an attack on Mr. Chappell, the detective continues. He was severely injured. We believe it may be connected to something he was involved in during the weekend. Olivia's mind goes blank. The weekend she and Doug spent together, the intimate moments they shared, are now clouded by this dark turn of events. She feels a wave of panic rise in her chest. What does this have to do with me? She asks, though she already knows the answer. We're not sure yet, Detective Marks responds, but it's clear that there's more to Mr. Chappell than meets the eye. We need to speak to you about what you know. Olivia feels the ground beneath her shift. What had started as an innocent flirtation with Doug has now escalated into something much darker. She suddenly realizes how little she truly knew about him. Was he involved in something dangerous? Did her actions somehow contribute to what's happened to him? The questions swirl in her mind, but the one that haunts her the most is this: has her desire for something more, something forbidden, now placed her in the middle of a dangerous situation she never could have predicted. As Detective Marks hangs up, Olivia is left with more questions than answers, the fallout of her affair with Doug spiraling into something far more perilous than she could have ever imagined. The consequences of her actions have now spread far beyond the confines of her marriage, and Olivia is about to find out just how deep the rabbit hole goes. The days following the revelation of Doug's attack are a blur for Olivia. She's consumed by the weight of the situation, struggling to reconcile the decision she's made with the life she once knew. The calls from Detective Marks continue, each one adding more layers to the mystery surrounding Doug's injury, and Olivia begins to realize how deeply entangled she has become in something far beyond her control. The affair, which once seemed like an escape, has now spiraled into a nightmare. She finds herself at a crossroads. Her marriage with David is hanging by a thread, and her connection with Doug has turned into something sinister. The idea of facing the consequences of her actions becomes more and more daunting. Olivia wonders if she can ever return to the life she had before, or if she's already crossed a point of no return. Her once perfect world now feels fragmented and unstable. The phone rings again one evening, and it's Detective Marks on the line. Ms. Taylor, we have some new information about Doug. We believe the attack was orchestrated by someone close to him. We're also investigating some of his business dealings, and it's possible your name might come up in relation to his activities." The detective's voice is steady, but there's an underlying tension that sends a chill down Olivia's spine. Her stomach churns as the realization hits her she's now caught in something much bigger than a simple affair. The detective's mention of Doug's business dealings suggests there's a dark side to him that Olivia never saw. The charming, seductive man she had grown infatuated with is now revealed to be part of a dangerous web, and she may have unwittingly become a pawn in it. As Olivia sits alone in her apartment that night, her mind races. How much does she really know about Doug? How much of their relationship was based on lies, on manipulation? And where does this leave her? The guilt, shame, and fear are overwhelming, and she realizes that the life she once envisioned for herself, marriage to David, a future with children, may be irreparably shattered. The woman she thought she was is no longer the same, and the choices she's made may have led her to an irreversible downfall. The phone call with Detective Marks is the last straw. Olivia knows that everything is about to unravel, and she is powerless to stop it. Her fate, it seems, is no longer in her hands, and the consequences of her actions are set to play out in ways she never imagined. The truth about Doug's involvement in illegal activities continues to surface, and Olivia feels like she's living in a nightmare. The detective's investigation has revealed connections between Doug and some dangerous individuals, and Olivia, whether willingly or not, has become a key part of the unraveling story. The more she learns, the more she understands how deeply she has been drawn into a situation that she cannot escape. David, once the man she trusted most, has distanced himself from her completely. He's left their shared home, retreating to an apartment of his own, and their communication has dwindled to a few terse messages. Olivia knows that their marriage is likely over, and in the quiet of her apartment she can feel the weight of the loss. The man who once promised to stand by her through everything has now become a stranger, and Olivia's own actions have driven them apart. She spends the days and a daze, unable to focus on anything but the consequences of her betrayal. The detective's calls grow more frequent, each one filled with questions she doesn't know how to answer. Her connection to Doug, once thrilling, once full of promise, has now turned into a curse. Every time she hears his name, a knot tightens in her stomach. Doug's world is one she never understood, and now, because of her, she's being dragged into it. The final straw comes when Detective Marks tells her that Doug is missing. It's unclear whether he's disappeared on his own or if something more sinister has happened to him, but Olivia's role in everything has become impossible to ignore. She feels responsible for what has happened to him, and the guilt consumes her. The life she thought she would build with Doug if only she had made different choices is now slipping through her fingers. Olivia is left with the remnants of her once promising career, a shattered marriage, and a future that feels uncertain at best. She no longer knows who she is or what she wants. The woman who thought she could navigate the complexities of love, betrayal, and loyalty has found herself lost in the very chaos she created. As Olivia sits alone in her apartment, her phone buzzing with one final message from David, "I'm done," she realizes that there is no going back. Her life, once in her control, has spiraled out of her hands, and all that's left is the wreckage of her choices. She looks out the window. The city lights a blur in the distance, and for the first time in a long while, Olivia truly understands the price of betrayal. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.